Hello, my name is Felix Okeke. I'm your marriage counselor and coach. And once again, this is Marriage Without Tears. You are welcome to today's edition. And frankly speaking, this very particular channel has been doing a whole lot in families. I've been getting a lot of comments from people about the joy that this particular channel is bringing to their homes. And honestly, I appreciate that. Today, I want you to bring your spouse around you so that you can sit together and watch this together, because the topic together is very fundamental. The issue of communication is something that we cannot underestimate in any relationship. Communication is very, very vital. I know couples who love one another so dearly, and yet when they are poor communicators, and because they are poor communicators, the joy of that marriage never blossoms, it never comes forth. And today, as we discuss this, I want you to look at your partner and then weigh your own relationship in the light of some of the things we are going to mention here today. The topic this morning is titled, The 7 Signs of Healthy Communication in Marriage. The 7 signs. And what is communication? Essentially, communication is simply the giving and receiving of information. Many people think that communication is all about talking or telling. No, those are very, very elementary part of communication. In any marriage where there is joyful and efficient communication, there are so many things that happen. And that's what we want to talk about today. Number one, what is the first sign of quality communication in marriage? The very first sign is that the couple develop various ways of communicating with one another. It's no longer just about talking. They can communicate through talking, by the written word. They communicate by signs, gestures of the hand, gestures of the eyes, a wink of the eyes, a twinkle of the eye, or something like a snap of the finger. They can communicate by even their dressing. I know of couples that communicate simply by just winking at one another. I know of couples that communicate by alliances, by all manner of methods. I visited a couple one day, and as we are sitting, the husband said to the wife, I hope we'll be going to the market today. And the wife said, well, if you can get for me the things that I need and all the things that I require, I would like to go along with you. And honestly, I was wondering which market are they going by that time of the day, and because it was surely night. And I was waiting, and after some time, I decided to leave. I never saw them, they never left that very particular house anyway. And at a point, I began to wonder, what happened? The next morning when I met the husband, I was asking, what happened? Which market were you going at that time of the day? And he smiled and said to me, they were simply talking about love making. Are you going to the market today? Are you coming to bed today? Are we going to make love today? And the wife was simply saying, if you can satisfy me, why not? I mean, these are things they can say even with the presence of a stranger, and you will never know what they are talking about. I know of another couple, they are living in a very big mansion. The wife has her own apartment, her own side of the apartment. The husband stays in another side of the apartment. But each time they want to get together, the husband will simply say, or the wife will say the same thing, say, are you coming to Macedonia tonight? And the wife may say, or the partner may say, what? I don't know if I'm coming to Macedonia. It all depends on you. If you are willing to take me along, why not? I will come to Macedonia. If you are not willing, I don't think I can make it because I'm even tired out. And you will be there and you will be wondering, what are these people talking about? That is quality communication taking place right there before you, and you don't even know what they are talking about. These things are learned over a long period of time. So for couples who enjoy quality communication, they devise so many methods of communicating with one another, methods that are peculiar to them. That is what couples do. Then secondly, for a couple that actually communicate very well with one another, you don't find derogatory words. Total absence of derogatory words. Any word that will demean the human spirit, any word that will cause any of them to become sad. You don't get it. You don't get it around them. They never use acerbic words. You don't hear curses. Anytime you find couples that are cursing and abusing one another, it's a sign that communication has broken down seriously in that marriage. So I don't know about you. I don't know about your home. I hope you are not one of those couples I'm talking about here. But for couples who actually enjoy quality, I'm talking of quality communication. there is total absence of curses. There is total absence of demeaning words. They communicate with a word that it defies the human spirit. That is the second one. Then the third one, of course, where communication is very, very glorious in a family, you discover that they are good listeners. The capacity to listen is very, very fundamental if good communication must take place between couples. I see couples, many times they are half listening. I mean, the husband is busy watching a match between Barca and Real Madrid, and the wife is telling or communicating a particular information, and the man is what we call that is half listening. The man is interested in other things, so the discussion may even be a distraction to him. So that is half listening. We also see situations where either the man or the woman is listening for a negative part of the conversation, so that she will pick faults with whatever the man is saying or whatever the woman is saying. Those are what we call fault finding. Then we have selective listening. They decide to listen to the portion that pertains unto them. And when the spouse begin to talk about other situations, you see a total blackout. That is selective listening. But for quality couples who enjoy quality communication, you discover that there is attentive listening. They listen to each other with rapt attention. There is something St. Francis of Assisi once said. He said, "Oh Lord, teach me how first to understand before seeking to be understood." That is very vital. It's very fundamental. Oh Lord, teach me first how to understand before seeking to be understood. If this can become the byline, the motto of couples, you will see mighty, wonderful things happen in your marriage and family life. The capacity to listen. Without digressing, I just want to pick something. There was a time God was seeking for somebody who will actually listen, for him to communicate his ideas, his values upon the earth. He looked out for a man and he couldn't find it until he found Noah. Go and read back the book of Genesis. You discover that Noah was so attentive that he never queried God. He never asked God, where is the water that will leave the ark come from? When is the rain going to fall? He went and he heard clearly and he went to work according to specification. The capacity to listen to one another is very vital in a relationship. I discover also over a period of counseling experience that there are couples who like to hide the nitty-gritty of the information at the end of the story. They garnish the story with all manner of words before they go to the end to bring out the actual facts. If you jump into the middle or at the beginning without allowing that person to land, to hit a home run, you discover that misunderstanding will always occur. So why don't you learn the art of listening to one another? In every couple that enjoy quality communication, you discover they are also attentive listeners. If you must communicate well, then you must also listen well. The fourth one actually is that of the right timing. Every information must be delivered at the right time, at the right environment. Quality communication does not happen if it is delivered wrongly. I will give you an example. A man just came back from work and is tired and very worn out. Instead of his wife bringing his food or probably preparing the bedroom for him to take his bath, the wife starts talking about school fees. That is irrelevant. That is not the right time for such a discussion. Or perhaps you are gone to bed, you desire to make love with your husband, and instead of getting ready for what the action, all you start talking about is the promises he made that he could not keep, or certain things he desired to buy for you that he could not buy. This is wrong timing. There was this incident that happened some time ago. A woman just received an information that her mother-in-law has died, and she never told her husband. And somehow, she waited until they left their home and they were both driving to work. She was seated by the side of the man, and suddenly she remembered it. Instead of waiting until such a time that they can be at a more relaxed atmosphere, she uttered it outright in the car while the man was speeding. The man totally lost control, and your guess is as good as mine. There was a massive accident. And there's always a right time for a discussion. There's always a right timing for any communication. If the timing is not right, please don't say it. There are things you may need to say in the wee hours of the morning. There are things you may need to say before you go to bed at night. There are things you may need to say when your husband is more relaxed at home watching the television, when there is a more relaxed atmosphere. As a woman in marriage, as a man in marriage, you check the time. You know when you are supposed to communicate some certain information, some certain opinions and suggestions to your husband. There's always a right timing for marriage, for communication. And couples who actually know how to communicate with one another, they weigh these things before they come out to say whatever they desire to say. So actually, right timing, right atmosphere is very important when it comes to communication. Now, let's get to number 5. Number 5 actually is what I call truthfulness and transparency. If good communication must occur, then the couple must observe the virtue of truthfulness and transparency in the way they relate with one another. If I know that what you are telling me lacks, the evidence is lopsided, or the truth is lopsided, or maybe there is a bit of half-truth there, the whole information, the whole communication may just simply fall to the dustbin. Or if I discover that you have hidden agendas, or that there are some certain areas, some certain sides of the conversation or communication which you are hiding, it will destroy the entire communication process. So when you see couples that are actually enjoying quality communication, this couple also observe truthfulness and transparency. I wonder why a partner should continue telling lies to another. You don't tell lies to your other half because you are simply the same. The moment you begin to tell lies in your relationship, you discover that you will need more lies to cover the lies which you have already told. So why don't you tell the truth from the beginning? Because I discover one thing. If you are able to tell the truth from day one, it remains truth even in day 50, even in day 100, it is still the same. So why don't you save yourself the stress and tell the truth from the beginning? When you see couples that are really enjoying themselves when it comes to communication, there are couples that are open towards one another, truthful in all their dealings, transparency. If there is something negative to say, he passes the information without waiting, without hindrance, without limitations. These are couples that enjoy quality communication, not couples that hide things from one another. So the 5th one is actually transparency and trust. Very, very vital. And of course, the 6th one are couples that enjoy quality communication are always asking probing questions, clarifying questions, summary questions. While you are talking with one another or relating in whatever way, you must understand one thing. Both of you came from diverse backgrounds. Of course, not the same parents, from different economic spectrum, from different homes, from different backgrounds, possibly from different tribes. So the tendency is that your emotional and psychological makeup may never be the same. When a cobbler's daughter marries a millionaire's son, the way they relate concerning money will be totally different. And vice versa in all other areas of life. So both of you come from these different settings. So there's a tendency for misunderstanding to occur from time to time. So to checkmate this, what you do is in the process of conversation, ask clarifying questions. For instance, did Ben say he is going to come today? Those are clarifying questions. Oh, did you say that the parents finally made it to their daughter's wedding? Those are clarifying questions. You may listen and you summarize the whole thing, this whole discussion. You summarize it. Oh, what you are trying to say is that we are going to London tomorrow. Simple. So it's a summary. This makes it possible for you to actually understand the entirety of the conversation. So nothing is left amiss. Nothing is left. You may not read minds, really. But when you ask these clarifying questions, these summary questions, because I find it in the life of couples that enjoy quality communication, they ask clarifying questions of one another. They don't just assume. Any area, any gray area, they ask questions. So if you are always having problems with your spouse, You are always quarreling because certain information, certain ideals, certain values, certain principles were not passed on to you well. Why don't you begin from now henceforth to ask clarifying questions so that those gray areas will be taken care of? And finally, number 7, every couple that enjoy quality communication also know how to respond to one another with love. No matter, even if you have to correct a partner, it must be done in love. It must be done with warmth. It must be done with calmness. It must be done with peace in your heart. If you must communicate again what you desire to do, you must do it in love and with quality, calmness, with peace. Because in any family where there is no peace, where there is no calmness, there is always a challenge. And such challenges are what we try to avoid from time to time. So, even after you have made your points known, of course, turning around the conversation is also getting yourself understood. So, that is the 7th point in any couple that enjoy quality communication. Quality communication is very important. Once again, I want you to check that red button by my side. Click on the red button and get subscribed to this channel. It's a very, very wonderful time. It's a wonderful channel indeed, and I know that you will learn a whole lot. The next video we are going to look at hindrances to communication. Because whether you like it or not, there are certain hindrances. And some of them may be happening in your own home as I'm speaking now. There are hindrances that they may make a couple not to communicate effectively. And as we mention these hindrances, we will also provide solutions so that the joy of the Lord will be fulfilled in your marriage and family life. Subscribe once again to our channel and get blessed. I thank you very well for the time we have taken, and I believe God that somehow you have enjoyed this very particular production. Please make a comment at the end of this video. Let me know how you feel. And by the way, you can also make suggestions as to the kind of material you want to hear in the next edition. God bless you and remain blessed indeed. Thank you very much.